Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin soon, I'd like to ask that you be seated comfortably and keep your mic muted to avoid any interruptions. And should you have any questions, please wait until our Q&A, or you can raise your hand to be invited to speak, or you can type your questions in the chat box and we will address them promptly. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention, and we should begin soon.
Hi everyone, our event's starting in about 5 minutes, so please stay seated and we'll be with you right in a minute.
We again would like to ask you to keep your mic muted during the event and send your questions our way by typing in the chat box or via our email and Facebook Messenger, and we will address them promptly during our Q&A discussion.
Hey Ivy, how you doing?
Hey, doing great. How are you over there?
All right, we're starting in about 1 minute, so everyone please stay tuned and we'll be right here.
Good morning and good evening to all participants today from both sides of the globe. My name is Ivy, and I'd like to welcome all of you to the opening ceremony of VietChallenge Kickoff Event 2021. It is my pleasure to host the event, and I'm gladly joined by Jensen Wu, VietChallenge Vice President of Inclusive Growth and Partnerships. 2021 marks the 6th anniversary of VietChallenge since its inception in 2015. What began as a student initiative now has become one of the largest and most reliable entrepreneurship competitions in the world and in Vietnam. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to bridge the Vietnamese startup ecosystem with the U.S. market sources of funding. Last year, we had more than 200 teams participating in our competition, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. This continues the transformative impact that we have so far of VietChallenge, and everyone who joined us in the past, as well as everyone who are here at this moment, are all part of this movement. All of you have helped make this program possible for the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs. At VietChallenge, we take immense pride in our work to foster the shared spirit of entrepreneurship, community, and commitment to the Vietnamese startup landscape. We believe that the year of 2021 will open up new possibilities and new perspectives that will help us to grow stronger and bring about new and exciting experiences for our contestants, sponsors, volunteers, guests, and everyone who are involved. With that in mind, I'd like to again welcome everyone to the opening ceremony of VietChallenge 2021.
Thank you, Ivy. Now, before we begin, let's briefly go through the agenda for our event today. We will first begin with some much-awaited remarks from our team at VietChallenge, which will give everyone in the audience a glimpse into the changes that we have made to VietChallenge this year. I promise you want to stay tuned for these remarks, as there is quite a bit of exciting information about the prize pool and opportunities for VietChallenge startups this year. After that, we will follow by a fireside chat with our 2020 champion, Cricket One, Vicky Nguyen, the founder of Cricket One, and end with a panel discussion about and startup trends in the Southeast Asia region. And throughout the event, please feel free to add any questions you might have to any mediums that you're watching from, either Facebook or YouTube, and our team will be happy to answer any questions either during or after the event. Now, before we begin with the main program today, we would like to ask everyone to spend the next 5 minutes to watch a little video with us that reflects upon the 5-year journey with VietChallenge. Please go ahead.
Well, just watching the video made me realize what has been an eventful and amazing journey we have been through all together. And we are appreciative of every opportunity and challenge we have encountered in our way, because our achievements have made us who we are today. And I hope that's what everyone's feeling right now. Now, our achievements could not have been made possible without the help and support of those who have been here and those who are here today. On behalf of VietChallenge, I'd like to extend a warm note of gratitude to all of you. We like to thank our sponsors who have brought about a huge amount of help to our cause: SSI, Orphalite, BDA Capital Partners, and NEH Invest. We also like to thank our partners who have helped us to get a great deal of work done with ease and less stress: the Vietnamese Student Association in the United States, Vietnam Television, VietTel, Baker McKenzie, Republic, Think Zone, 500 Vietnam, Mazars, Navigate Consulting, Startup Vietnam Foundation, ISEV, NIC, FIS, Saigon Innovation Hub, Amazon Web Services, and Google.
Please let us also welcome today's guest speakers and panelists who have generously offered their time to join us with the program today. First, I'd like to welcome Ms. Vicky Nguyen, co-founder and business development partner at Cricket One; Ms. Michelle Ng, senior associate at Quest Venture; Mr. Olivier Roxens, managing partner at Phoebe Ventures; Mr. Jeff Payne, managing partner at Golden Gate Ventures; and last but certainly not least, Mr. Henry Chen, founding partner at Hub Global Holding. We are delighted to have you on our kickoff event, and we look forward to hearing your insights later in the program today.
Now, before we learn more about the 2021 competition, it is customary for us here at the VietChallenge to kick off with a few notes from our founder and president of VietChallenge, Mai-Fan Zimmeris.
Many thanks, Jensen and V. It was so touching to look at the video clip and look at the faces of a lot of our contestants, friends and partners near and far. So hi, everyone. Welcome to the kickoff of VietChallenge 2021. And my name is Mai Zamaritz. I'm a founder and the current president of VietChallenge. In that capacity, I consider it a privilege to welcome all of you to our 6th season. Looking back to the very beginning, when a small group of us got together to found VietChallenge, we could not imagine that it would evolve into such a significant platform for Vietnamese and Vietnam-related startups. During the previous 5 seasons, we have helped launch more than 800 startups. We have awarded more than $250,000 in cash, no strings attached. For our startups, we should note that they have raised more than $12 million and also created hundreds of thousands of jobs around the globe. We have introduced the most promising startups to our global VC and angel investors. And after 5 years, VietChallenge has become the largest and the most prestigious competition for Vietnamese and Vietnam-related entrepreneurs. All this promotes entrepreneurship in our global Vietnamese community. In addition to announcing our 6th season, we are also introducing a number of changes. We will be maintaining the 3-round judging competition, but we are also adding an accelerator component to the program. And in addition to the cash prizes, we will be launching our Alliance of Investors in the next few weeks. This alliance will commit to investing a minimum of $20,000 to each of our 6 best contestants. We will also be launching our board of advisors, basically the who's is who in the business world. We are also building a platform to connect our contestants with our mentors and their fellow startup founders around the world. We could not have reached this point without our generous sponsors, our dedicated judges, mentors, partners, a team of more than 200 passionate volunteers who have been with us from day one. They are the people who made it happen. And I will now pass the baton to our one and only Dai Nguyen, the CEO of VietChallenge and a mastermind behind the success of VietChallenge in recent years. He will provide you with an overview of our partnership and regulations along with opportunities for our contestants in 2021. Please welcome Thái Nguyên.
Thank you, Chị Mai, so much. And I think that we really appreciate your efforts, because without you, VietChallenge would not be that we have been today. So we would like to thank you, Chị Mai, for your great efforts. I know that you are so busy at the work as a lawyer, but you always care about VietChallenge and about the startup and about our relationship with investor, and we really appreciate that. And so today I'm so excited to announce that we will officially kick off the new season of VietChallenge 2021 with a lot of interesting programs and opportunities for startups. And I hope that we can attract so many potential startups to join VietChallenge this year. And a quick overview of what we have done over the past 5 years. As we estimate that, actually is that I want to show my slide, so can anyone? Yeah, that's great. Oh, yeah, it looks great. Yeah, you can see that as we estimate that our startup had raised over $10 million in total funding. And I do think that is not the real number. I do think that the real number must be higher. And I think that is quite significant, given the fact that most of VietChallenge startups are in early stage, and they are doing business in Vietnam, which is a developing countries. And we have attracted over 600 startups from more than 20 countries during the past 5 years. And as Chị Mai said, that we have awarded over $250,000 in cash prize and benefits for startups. And last but not least, we have a network of more than 50 mentors and experts and entrepreneurs who commit to have the next generation of startups founders to succeed. And as you may know, that many well-known startups in Vietnam have joined VietChallenge. Cricket One, Dubai, Go Studio, Smiley, all of them have achieved a lot of milestones and a lot of tractions since the time they joined VietChallenge. And at the end of this event, we will have a quick fireside chat with Bích Kim Nguyen, CEO and co-founder of Cricket One, the winner of VietChallenge 2020. So stay tuned to her talk. And about the new season, first let's take a quick look at the timeline this year. And as we kick off the new season today, startup can apply directly on our website at vietchallenge.org. And not only can startups apply for the competition, we also create new features for startups and investors to connect with each other directly on the VietChallenge website. And you can create your profile, find some investor who may fit with your business. And similarly, investor can also filter startups based on your criteria, such as fields, industries, stages, or location to connect and to invest. And we will close the application after 1 month, approximately 1 month on August 1st, and we will have a board of judges to select the stops 12 startups to advance to the next round and join our mentorship and accelerator program. One new thing that we will do this year is that in addition to providing the mentorship program, we also work closely with startups for the due diligence process. And as we do this, we can introduce our startup with investors who may have some interest in them. And then in September, we will have a demo day where we showcase all of the 12 startups this season. And after the demo day, we will announce the top 6 finalists for the final round and for the investor day. And then you can see that in October, we will host the investor day where our startups will be the main focus of the event. Last year, over 60 VCs and investors all over the world participated in the VietChallenge Investor Day. And this year, we look forward to inviting more VC to join. And finally, Depending on the situation in Vietnam and in the US, we may host a final round either in Boston or virtually, just like in 2020. So let's see what is news in 2021. The reason I want to emphasize that the reason why VietChallenge is a non-profit and an independent organization because we want to maintain the neutral positions between startups and investors. So any startup can join our program regardless of your industries, your fields, or your locations or your stage. If you are in early stage or if you're looking for raising serious funding, we always have a lot of options for you. Let's say, for example, if you are in early stage and we have a newly created VietChallenge Investor Alliance, which consists of some VC firms who commit to invest at least $20,000 in seed funding if you pass the due diligence. And if you are in late stage and want to raise a Series A or Series B with a check size of over $500,000 or maybe $1 million, we have a host of VCs in our network, such as Phoebe Ventures, Quest Venture, Golden Gate Ventures, or Do Ventures, among others. And if you want to tap in the US market, or you want to raise funding directly from US investors, we have a strategic collaboration with Republic, one of the most popular crowdfunding platforms in the US. And so we offer a lot of options for all kinds of startup, regardless of the field, industries, or maturity. And you will have the chance to listen to their conversation at the end of this kickoff event. And then we not only connect, we not only connect startups with investors, we also have you successfully raise funding from them. That's why the mentorship program is the signature program at VietChallenge. So we have startups founders tailor your pitching. We have you beautify your slide decks and even prepare your documents if needed. And we also connect and match one-on-one with a network of over 50 mentors. And who are they? Who are the mentors? They are investors. They are entrepreneurs. They are startup founders or experts in the industry that you are doing business. And many startups join our program because they want to target the US market, or on the other hand, they want to tap in the Vietnamese market. So we have a lot of experts in both countries who can help you grow and expand your business internationally. And last but not least, joining VietChallenge, you can participate in a lot of events that we host throughout the season. One of them is the Signature Investor Day, where we attract more than 50 investors, mostly in Vietnam, in Singapore, in Asia, or in the US. And with our unique virtual format, you can be assigned into separate rooms, and investors can choose startups that they are interested to talk with, and you will have chance to connect one-on-one with a lot of VCs in our network. And the demo day is a little bit different when each startup will take turn to present and answer questions from not only investors but also from our board of judges. And in addition to public events, we also host a number of private events, not only and only for investors and startups in our network. And as we host some private events throughout the years, we see that these kinds of private places, so startup founders don't have any pressure to ask questions, and they can freely express their concerns or get feedback directly from other startup founders or investors and mentors. So we think that is a very good place for startup founders to exchange their knowledge, or maybe exchange some idea, or maybe have some, or maybe they can do business together. So basically, that is the overview of VietChallenge 2021. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm looking forward to answering your questions.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for such exciting news. And I also like to thank you, Mai, for your wonderful remarks earlier. Now, I'm sure that Stephen has been very clear with all the exciting adjustment that we're gonna make to the 2021 competition. You're not only we will be getting more attractive prizes, but also you'll be gaining massive exposure to the industry, to the subcontinental and the global market. And last but not least, also the most important highlight of this year's competition, our signature mentorship program that you will not want to miss. However, I'm sure that there will be other questions and concerns that Stephen and I have not been able to address. So if you have them, please comment right away or send them our way via Facebook Messenger or email or any way that's possible that's available to you right now. And we will happily and promptly address them right now before we move on to the fireside chat with Vicky Nguyen of Cricket One. Well, Goals and Focus Media said congratulations to us. Thank you so much, and we appreciate. So here's the question from Goals and Focus Media, and I'd like to ask Stephen to address it later. The question is, does VietChallenge have a new direction in mentoring startups this year?
Thank you, Ivy. I think that is a great question. So we do have some new direction for mentoring startups this year, because this year we have a new investor, VietChallenge Investor Alliance. So we will not only we have startups prepare the pitch or maybe have them beautify the slide deck, we also work closely with them to do some like we call that early due diligence, so they can have some basic information to work with investor. And we also have some information to introduce our startups with investor. So in general, this year we will work more closely with startups than the other years.
We got some questions. Another one from John Siwa. What have you learned in the past year about how resilient Viet startups are in the face of crisis?
I do think that maybe we can actually I really want to pass this question for Vicky, because she's the real startup founder who is doing business in Vietnam. So, but I think that for startups in Vietnam, they have a great resilience, because we can see that COVID hit us really hard. That currently Vietnam is still facing with a lot of pressure from the COVID-19, and the thing is that in Vietnam, although we do not have a lot of money, we do not have a lot of capitals, but we have kinds of a network, and we have kind of a community that we can support each other. And VietChallenge is really proud that we are kind of the cornerstone and the center of the community, that we connect startups with investors, we connect startup founders with each other, so they can get to know each other, and they can learn from each other, and they even can do business, and they can collaborate with each other. And VietChallenge is really proud of that.
Thank you, Stephen. And as Stephen said, it's a great question. And while we have our own perspective, we are sure that Ms. Vicky Nguyen, founder of Cricket One, will have another amazing perspective from her standpoint. And we have another question from Hung Zhang. What should a startup who is a first-time competitor in a startup competition like VietChallenge should pay close attention to?
I think that is a great question, and I think that we do have kind of this question that we get every year, and because one thing that distinguishes VietChallenge with other competitions in Vietnam and in the region, because is that we ask startups founders to pitch in English, because we do think that if you want to expand internationally, if you want to raise fund from investor, you have to communicate at least with kind of a good level with some with in English. That's why many startup founders who they may not speak English really well like a native speaker, but we have them tailor the pitch and we train them to so they can communicate really well with investors, with international investors. So they can in the long term future they can raise series and they can raise series Bs with investor in Singapore or in South Korea and even with US investors who may fund them, who may invest like 10 millions of dollars for them. So I do think that that is really important for startup to join VietChallenge because they will have the chance to practice and they can have the chance to prepare to work with international investors.
Well, inevitably, communication is the key to success. I'm sure this is something that is going to sit with you very well as you join our competition. We have a question from Zhang Nguyen. How many events does VietChallenge plan to organize to connect startups with investors?
Yeah, and I said that in addition to the some kind of semi-final round or the final round, we also have Investor Day only for the top startups of VietChallenge. We have the demo day only for the finalists of VietChallenge, and but we also have a lot of private events that we will do like maybe uh, twice per month that we can invite some investor and we can invite startup founders so they can share their stories. And that event is private and is only for startups to join VietChallenge this year. And we may invite some VietChallenge alumni to share their experience when they joined VietChallenge last year. So this is I do think that that is a very free place and it's a place that you can share freely without the attention of the public, and that is a good place that we can learn and grow together.
Well, thank you for a sneak peek from Stephen. And I can guarantee you that this new host series, this new talk show series that we're going to host is distinctively VietChallenge. So stay tuned. Another question from Trang LS Win. Will there be any new tech features this year? And I believe this in reference to our website or our application portal. So I'll have Stephen address that again.
Yeah, I think that for the challenge, we currently we develop some features on the website that with this feature, startups and investors can connect with each other directly on the platform. And at this time, we only open for startup founders or maybe for investor only. But eventually, we can open this one to public, so anyone who are interested in startup can connect with each other. Maybe if you just graduate from college and you want to work for a startup, you can use VietChallenge website and VietChallenge platform to find a job, even find a job on VietChallenge. And I do think that many startups founders want to recruit great people to work with them because it's not about you want to get a job. It's about you have an entrepreneur spirit that a lot of I do think that nowadays a lot of young students who want to work in a startup in when they're young so they can have experience in the long term future. So that is some features that we are developing for startups and for investors so they can connect with each other and they can chat with each other directly on the platform.
Well, thank you, Stephen, again for being so thorough and detailed. And even though we like to address more questions because I believe there are still a lot of them left, but unfortunately time is running out. And we are now going to move on to the fireside chat that I'm sure all of us are looking forward to with Miss Vicky Nguyen from Cricket One. So thank you again, Stephen, for your update on the VietChallenge 2021 and for addressing the questions and concerns. And if our participants have more questions, please do not hesitate to send them our way, and we will address them promptly after the event as soon as we can. Now, please allow me to welcome on stage again our co-host, Jensen Vu, and our fireside chat guest speaker today, Ms. Vicky Nguyen from Cricket One.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for our Q&A session. I hope that your questions have been addressed as Ivy has mentioned. And now, again, let me welcome Vicky Nguyen, CEO of Cricket One, to the stage. Cricket One was our 2020 champion who had conquered really all the adversities of the competition itself, but also of the COVID pandemic to thrive and to succeed within our competitions. So Vicky, welcome back to VietChallenge, and I'm so excited to talk to you. I believe we might have some tech problem right now, but we'll give Vicky a minute. But yeah, she'll be right here with us. And with that, if we have any questions right now, we can address it right now before we move on to talk to Vicky. So yeah, Ivy, do you have any other questions that we've not been able to answer? And we can go ahead and answer that. If Stephen, you're still there.
Yeah, so in the meantime, while we waiting for Vicky to get ready, I'm sure we can answer one of the other questions.
I actually had this one question that someone from the... sorry, Ivy, there was a lag there, but yeah, I had this question that someone from the audience just sent to me, and I think it's really important to get addressed with regard to our partnership with VietChallenge, with Republic. So Stephen, someone asked me that they would like to hear more about VietChallenge's partnership with Republic and how it started. And also, more importantly, they can raise funds through Republic, even though their company is not incorporated in the US, because that seems like what they've done through the research. So if you could address that, that would be great.
That's an amazing question. I definitely didn't think of that. So why are we waiting for Stephen? Oh, here's my...
Stephen, I believe we do have you, or do we?
we can hear you right now. Maybe you're muted.
Well, in the meantime, Ivy, yeah, I believe that we have also a few questions that I could myself answer. So I can go ahead and take one of these questions that we have here. First, which is something that we've mentioned a little bit before, but which, yeah, we can talk about more, which is what types of startups usually succeed in VietChallenge? And for this question, I think that Stephen briefly touched on it when he was going through the slideshow, but I myself was someone who considered joining VietChallenge myself as a startup founder instead of someone who who became an organizer of the competition. And I had about a food business where you make sustainable drinks and things like that. But and I was wondering if this is like too small for VietChallenge. But then I saw a bunch of different things join VietChallenge, such as Som and even like that bike and Cricket One. So there are all the kinds of different startups at different stages of VietChallenge, and we really care about entrepreneurs themselves and their ideas and the potential in them. Some traction would be great, but we take everything into consideration and consider them as a whole package. I think to your question, there's no a particular startup that succeeds in VietChallenge. And I believe Mai here. So Mai, I believe you could help us out with the question that someone addressed to VietChallenge about our partnership with Republic. Firstly, how it started, and how and after that, more importantly, whether they can raise funds through Republic, even though their company is not incorporated in the US.
Thanks a lot for the audience member for the great question, and thanks Zui and Ivy for giving me the opportunity to answer this question. So the partnership that we have with Republic is a long-term partnership. We actually formed it 2 years ago, and Republic, as many of you know, is the largest crowdfunding platform in the US. And through Republic, there are two paths to raising funds. One is crowdfunding, and the limit for raising funds through crowdfunding on Republic is 5 million. And then the other path is private investment, where there is no limit on raising funds, but there's some sort of restrictions on investors. So for crowdfunding, anyone can invest in your startup. So if I'm not an accredited investor, I can put in $10, $100 into your startups. But for private, I think there's requirement on accredited investors. So international startups who accounts for the majority of the startup who participate in VietChallenge can still raise funds through Republic. And the way to do it is we would have you guys with the process of like converting your companies into a US company through some sort, we call it like a Delaware flip. But through that process, you wouldn't be able to raise funds. If you want to do crowdfunding, if you want to grow through the private investment path, that's, to my knowledge, that's not a requirement. So in order to be able to raise funds on Republic, we are the exclusive partner of Republic when it comes to Vietnam-based startups. And so you wouldn't have to apply to our program. We will, we would ask if you're interested in Republic, and then we would also pass along your application to the Republic team. And if they're interested, then they would do some diligence on your startups. And then after that, we would work with Republic and your team to help you prepare for the launching and the fundraising of your company on the Republic platform. So that's kind of like a brief overview of the partnership that we have with Republic. I would just say that one fun fact is the CEO of Republic is Kendrick Nguyen. He's been a great friend, a mentor, a judge of VietChallenge, one of the biggest supporters of VietChallenge, and he's also a Vietnamese American. He's a role model, building a very successful startup that's on its way to become a fintech unicorn in the US just over the past 4 years. So, just being able to witness his success and for VietChallenge startups to be able to have to communicate with him and learn from him, I think that's a fantastic opportunities for every Vietnamese founder.
Thank you, Mai. Well, I'm sure that's your expertise as well as the expertise of our partners are something that our participant can leverage from. With that in mind, we have another question from the audience that I also like you to address. And now, as the founder of VietChallenge, you definitely have seen a lot. So if you could highlight on some common mistakes that these startups have made during our 5 past competitions, just so our potential participants could learn from them.
I would say that one of the biggest mistakes that these startup founders made, and a lot of them were very like highly promising startups, but I think some people are not really good listeners, and so I think in order to raise funds or in order to win a competition such as VietChallenge, like you have to really listen to the mentors that we will provide you along the way. You will have to listen to people in our team who will act as your, like the contact person and who will help your team. You will have to listen to our investors who are interested in your company and can make the first investment in your company. But so you have to like be very receptive to feedback. And I understand that as a startup founder, sometimes like the feedback is very overwhelming. But even though your startup you may have like the best idea in the world, but if you don't know how to communicate to different types of audience, and if you are not very strategic with your communication, it's very difficult for you to win over not only our judges but also our investors. So I would say be receptive, be open to feedback, work on improving your pitch, improving your business plan, and treat it as something like serious, but also an opportunity to get to know a lot of people around the world in this entrepreneurial, like global entrepreneurial ecosystem who are very focused on helping Vietnamese entrepreneurs. So that's I would say that's the mistake that I would highlight, and I would encourage our contestant this year not to repeat that mistake.
Yes, that's really good to know. And you mentioned something that actually touches upon one of the other questions that I received just now, which is someone who has a concern about kind of their social skills. Because you mentioned that we have a global competitions and we have a lot of funds that raise us from other sides of the globe. And so with that, a lot of investing, this person says, has to do with socializing and talking and chatting with investors, and they don't feel comfortable doing that. So what are your advice when it comes to socializing and just getting to investors and for people in Vietnam right now who want to raise funds globally but do not have the skills to do that?
You should join. First of all, I think everyone should join VietChallenge because we have like a very helpful and accelerator program where we will have coaches and mentors who will work with you on a one-on-one basis and then help you refine your pitch and train you on how to communicate with global investors. And so knowing that the communication style of investors outside Vietnam is very much different from investors inside Vietnam. So in addition to joining VietChallenge, right, I think it's it's great to keep an open mind, to find the opportunity, as many opportunities as you can to talk to investors, because the more investor you talk to, it's easier for you to get used to their way of communicating, and also for you to refine their pitch and get their feedback and improve upon that. So we look forward to welcoming all of these great teams into our program. Just come here, apply to it. We'll train you. We'll create these opportunities for you, and all you need to do is just to come to us with an open mind and be very focused, and great things and great opportunities will happen.
Thank you, Timai. Well, it seems that the general question the general answer to all question is join us. Well, that just concluded our Q&A session, and I'd like to give back the stage to our moderator, Jensen Wivu, and our guest speaker today at the Fireside Chat, Ms. Vicky Nguyen, co-founder and business development director of Cricket One. Cricket One was our champion in the 2020 competition, and they were one of the amazing and impressive startups that have been able to leverage innovation and technology to thrive and succeed in the entrepreneurial landscape. So now I'll give back the stage to Jensen Wivu and Vicky Nguyen, and looking forward to your Fireside Chat.
Thank you, Ivy, and hi, Vicky. How are you doing? I think the last time I saw you was at the final round of VietChallenge, and that was almost a year ago. So we'd love to check in quickly and see how you're doing.
Thanks for checking in, Jensen. So the time is strange, eh? So it's I'm very happy for you. It's like back in the US, everything is almost back to normal, like no more lockdown, very little less social distancing. But then things in Vietnam is set to get quite tense because of the COVID situation. So for apart from that, it sounds quite depressing, but we have to go on with life. But apart from that, I'm doing great. So last time when we spoke was last year, and I think I just got back to Vietnam, and then my baby girl, she was I think 6.5 months, but now she's like over 1 age, like 1 year old, and myself, I'm expecting another one. So yeah, that's just a personal update from me.
Oh, wow. Yes, I remember hearing her kind of crying during kind of the competition last year in the final round. I think it's one of my favorite moments of VietChallenge, actually. So
Yes.
yeah, I congratulations on the next one, and I hope things work out well. So for the first question, I think after the final round of VietChallenge, I got really used to seeing you on all kinds of different social medias and newspapers and whatnot. And one of the things I read was that Cricket One is planning to focus in the Vietnamese market for the next for the upcoming years. And I would love to kind of explore a bit, kind of your plan a bit more, given that agriculture is kind of one of the biggest economic sectors in Vietnam. I'm assuming there's a lot of room for growth. But could you please just explain more from the angle of your business when it comes to this kind of new products from crickets that is not really common to people?
Okay, so agriculture of Vietnam, of course. You are totally right about the proportions of the of agricultures in terms of the economic scenes of Vietnam. So it is a major sectors here. And personally, I do see a big growth of technologies applying to the industry. But then, one hand, like people really try to push technologies into the into the sectors. But then, the other hand, the readiness of the sector itself to adopt and adapt the technologies, I would say, still need a lot of improvement, and also like there's have to be a lot of like solution involved to it. For example, it's like most of the technologies now you look into in agriculture is more like a micro technologies, because if it's bigger than micro size, then it's not going to be applicable for the farmer itself themselves. Apart from those like cooperative or a little bit like medium-sized agricultural company, then those companies have the readiness to adopt technologies. But the rest of the majorities, I don't see as like they are ready yet. But then for Cricket One, so what we are doing is like, we're doing completely. It's agriculture, but it's quite difficult, like different from the conventional agricultures. So that's why you see is that we try to build our own ecosystem here. So it means like we solve the problem with the micro farming by having our own farming area, but also working with the farmer to expand the farming area into like more like cost effective as well as like available resources. And then we also create our own technologies to really make sure it's matched into our focus of expanding. So and then the rest, I would say, is that agriculture is still agriculture. You have to get your hands into the business to really learn how it works. We have to really like learning day to day what would be the best practice for our business, for our farming, for our livestock, and what would be the best application coming out that can fit the market. One of the difficult thing with cricket farming is that, for example, it took pig and chickens like piglets and poultry 50 years to really have a standard diet method or practice. So we expect the same thing might happen to cricket farming, but it's different now. Is like we have internet, we have like completely flat knowledge platform to share the knowledge. So we anticipate like the learning process, the learning curve is going to happen quicker. But I would say is that my takeaway conclusion is at the end it's still agricultural farming. The more efficient you can get, the better you can go to the market.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. First, I think there's a lag there, so I'm a little bit like 2 seconds behind, but I'm listening all throughout.
Yeah, it's okay. So why are you
So
froze?
Vicky, I am curious about that because you mentioned some other industries as well. So pork and chicken, which I'm understanding there are, so which there are kind of industry standards and kind of an established communities in Vietnam and other parts of the world as well. When it comes to crickets being something that is so new, especially in the Vietnamese market as well, I was wondering if you face any challenges as you started to enter the market. Were you able to find some kind of community support or any kind of guidance or anything of that nature at all? So would love to just explore more of the challenges that you have encountered or some opportunities as well.
I think it's very good questions, Jansen. So when we focus into the Vietnam market, we look more about the readiness of the consumer themselves. So we put aside the culture of the Vietnamese market. So I mean, like for the past almost 5 years being active in the market, we trying to conquer the exporting market like North America, Europe. Why is that? Because over there, people might, I mean, it's like for someone new listening to it, they might get a hiccup. It's like, why are we trying to convince Westerners, foreigners to consume cricket? But actually, it's like over there are much more awareness about the sector itself. They are much more welcoming any initiative that can tackle the climate change, can tackle the sustainability, that the sustainable factor. And over there, people can afford to adopt a sustainable product because sustainable products tend to be more costly than conventional product. I say it many times, but I would like to say it again. For example, is that you hold one plastic straw and then you hold one alternative sustainable straw. You can see is like the sustainable straw feel different, and because it make you feel different, that's why it costs you more money. So the same thing with cricket-based product. Because it's a sustainable product, you just not go out there and then catch from the nature. Huh? You have to really have a progress of farming, processing in a very sustainable way to have a final product. So it tends to be more expensive than the conventional product. So when we're going out there, so we look into those three things. Can people, are people aware of it? Can people pay for it? And this is some sort of like an initiative that people embrace it. So for us, it's like exporting market is somehow a test market for us, but also a main revenue generating market for us. And then when we look back into our Vietnamese market, and with a very big population, it's like 97 million, more, now it's almost 100 million people. And then we look into the behaviors of the Gen Z, of the what's it called? Millennial generations, the Gen Z generations. We see how they welcome new product. We see how they are craving for a new lifestyle to make them look different than the rest. Then we see, oh, maybe that is where our product can fit in. And then we can have those client segments as a first adopter group for us to really launch out the market. So when we focus into the market, we don't focus into the mass one yet. We focus in that specific group of consumers. So it's difficult, it's moving slow, but I would say the awareness is there and it's getting stronger, and people are curious about this kind of solution. And then one of the good effect is like people start to get more mainstream social media content, newspapers article about this kind of product are so consuming well in Western market, then they start to accept it easier. So so seeing those factors that we decide, okay, it is a good time to really focus into the Vietnamese market. And then one of the things is like we have to overcome the readiness of the consumers. So in overseas, what we do is like we're presenting only ingredients. And then from that ingredient, it can go into different kind of product. Because why? Because the whole value chains of the industry over there has been set up. So it means that I'm playing at the ingredient, and then my client is the one producing finished and flashy product for my ingredient. And the consumer just have to go out there and grab it. But here in Vietnam, if we give the same product into the whole value chains, it might be a boss for people like, okay, what I'm going to do with this powder. So we have to really like innovate a different product that we believe is going to solve the problem of that gap. So we R&D, and then we launch a new ingredient, which is not far from what the Vietnamese is consuming. For example, it's like we don't try to push powder, but we try to push the texturized cricket meat into the market. And then from that cricket meat, it's gonna go into different type of like meat look like products. Then by that time, then people start to feel more friendly, like towards the product. And also one of the thing is like, it doesn't matter how cool you are. So Vietnam just become a developing country 4 years ago. I mean, getting out of the poor country. Yeah? And then one of the indicators for that is that you start to see meat in their daily meal. And then people start to enjoy consuming meat. Just a very short time. Why are you trying to push it to take away that pleasure? So we have to go alongside with that development by introduce something look like meat, taste like meat, but it's greener, it's healthier, and then it makes people feel different. So that's just our tactics looking into the Vietnamese market and how we see the Vietnamese market. So the more we talk about it, the more people know about it, and the better we can bring the product to the consumer who wants to try. I can't hear you, Jensen.
Sorry about that. Yeah, as always, whenever I talk to you, I learn a lot, and it's fascinating to learn about that kind of curve as in gap between kind of where the country is right now. As you pointed out, I was trying a few months ago to find Cricket One's products through on your website, just because VietChallenge, the team of VietChallenge, we always try to support our startups whenever we can, and I definitely try out Smiley or some of the products that our startups have as well, but I couldn't find your product. So I'm really excited whenever that's out in the market in Vietnam. So on that note, I do have another questions that I would love to ask in order to dig deeper into that. What you just brought up about that communication gap between Vietnam and Europe, which is kind of about the messaging that you have. So does that change your strategy at all when you come to market this product in Vietnam versus in Europe? When you talk about Gen Z and millennials, of course, I'm in the cusp of Gen Z and millennial, and I receive different messaging in the US and in Europe as well. But how do Vietnamese consumers in that generation react differently than the consumer in Europe and in the US? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, okay, you make another nice, another very good question, Jensen. So it's a very good way for me to talk more about my business. So firstly, is that you might not find Cricket One product with the Cricket One label on the shelf of the supermarket, on Amazon, or in those healthy shop, because we don't have end consumer product. We are ingredients. So we sell to those brands, and then those brands produce into the finished product for consumer like you. So yes, so to confirm, you're not going to see Cricket One label, but if you go to the store, let's say if you go to Costco or if you go to Amazon, you just have to do one keyword: Cricket, Cricket product, Cricket powder, Cricket cookies, Cricket pasta. I would say at least 7 out of 10 products they use our ingredients, at least. And then if you happen to have pets like dog and cat, and then if you search for a range of insect-based products, very, 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 very likely that you're consuming, like your pet might might be consuming Cricket One's product in there. So yeah, so this is how it works. And then going back to your questions about the difference in terms of communications and marketing campaigns. So in North America or in Europe, when people talk about a product, they, apart from the functionality of the product, apart from the taste, apart from the look of the product, they are seeking for a beautiful story behind the product. That's why copywriters make so much money out there compared to Vietnamese market. So apart from those features of the product, they're looking for the beautiful story. So when we bring our ingredient out there, first thing we have to make sure our product tastes fantastic. Our product has a very advanced nutritional profile, and our product has a very consistent high standard of quality. But then the other thing we have to bring into the market is that we have to have a real, convincing, beautiful story. And how we do that? Yeah, Cricket is sustainable. Cricket is very friendly to environment. Cricket is very good for your health, for your gut health, for your mentalities and so on. And Cricket tastes great. But then the thing is that we have to say is every single product you're consuming with Cricket One ingredient, then there's a farmer in the Far East enjoying the benefit from that product. It means that you are consuming a product that you help the farmer in the Far East to get out of the poverty. So that is some sort of an extra story, an extra value that we bring into the product our clients. For Vietnamese market, of course, is that people are talking about sustainability. People are talking about being different, being more responsible. We have that all with our communication content, communication channel. But we add on one thing that we're trying to emphasize it is you're gonna have a different lifestyle where you're gonna be healthier, where you're gonna be responsible, and where you're gonna be outstanding from the crowd. So the story that we communicate for the Vietnamese market is more about how they're gonna be different than the rest of the population, than the rest of the community. How they're going to be different than their friends, and how they want to be influencer to educate, to introduce the product to their friends. And then the third thing we're gonna say is it's gonna be going back into I was saying is consuming this product, this sustainable product, doesn't mean you have to sacrifice the joy of consuming food. So this is how we communicate for the Vietnamese market. You're gonna be different. You're gonna be cool. You're gonna be sustainable. You're gonna be responsible. But you don't have to give up your the tastiness of your food.
Thank you, Vicky. I was hoping to add like a spoon of cricket to my protein powder every morning after my workout, but I'm assuming that's not the
I
case. But
promise everyone at VietChallenge free supply of
I will
powder.
go ahead and just look for crickets. Yeah, so I will go ahead and look for that in other stuff. But thank you so much, and I again learned a lot through this conversation, and I really appreciate your time and help. And yeah, we will make sure to keep in touch with you. And I am afraid that we don't have more time to ask you more questions, but we'll make sure to reach out later as well. But thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it, and please always come back to VietChallenge. We always love having you here. So yeah, thank you so much.
So good luck with the new challenge, a new journey, and I really encourage like startup and initiative and also like innovator out there to really try their luck with VietChallenge, because I have to say after VietChallenge, you guys did a very good job with media coverage, which is very good for new technologies, for new product to be introduced to the market. And I mean, it's like for startup, every single penny counts. So trying to use those efficient free media coverage. And then for Cricket 1 Hour case, I mean, after VietChallenge, we did 5 new clients. And right now we are working with a very strong close partner who happened to attend the VietChallenge finalists last year. And now I'm like we are working so close to really promote Cricket One in the US market, but focusing on the back applications. So for us, that is the biggest takeaway, apart from the cash prize, apart from the media's coverage, apart from the mentorship. But the good thing is like there are so many Vietnamese American community out there that they want to really do business with Vietnamese startup, Vietnamese technologies, and we having a proven case of the benefit coming out that we are shipping to the US through that partner, and then they are working so well promoting the product, and we are working with like very large American companies because of them. So if you see US is a very good market for you, and this is your target market, then I really encourage those like potential idea to really like go for it, like go for VietChallenge.
Well, thank you, Vicky, and our co-host Jensen, for such an exciting and amazing and insightful remarks about your business plans and all of that. And Vicky, I just want you to know that I'm always so convinced and impressed by your stories and your advice and your business plans. And I look forward to that free supply of protein. And I already have a feeling that one day your product will be included in our cash and in our prizes for the contestant of VietChallenge. So
very luck too.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. And I mean, I do have a very strong belief in that. So we'll definitely see you again very soon. And
Yes.
thank you again for joining us today.
Have a lovely evening, everyone, and
You
enjoy the
too.
rest of the event.
Of
Bye.
course, and we wish you every success in your endeavors. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye. Well, participants, we should not keep you any longer. The much-awaited panel discussion should be here in no time. And please allow me to welcome again one of our moderators, Jensen Vu, and another amazing moderators from VietChallenge, Ms. Jean Pham, our Vice President of VietChallenge, together with our panelists today, Ms. Michelle Ng from Quest Ventures, Mr. Olivier Rossins from Phoebe Ventures, Mrs. Jeffrey Payne from Golden Gate Ventures, and last but not least, Mr. Henry Tran from HUB Global Holding.
Great. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. Thank you, Olivier, Michelle, Jeffrey, and Hung for taking the time to be with us tonight. And I'm so excited to see you guys here after, I guess, like the last event of VietChallenge. As everybody know, my name is Jean Pham. I'm the VP of Investment of VietChallenge. This year is the 6th season of VietChallenge, and I cannot believe that this is my 5th year with VietChallenge, and I just cannot wait to do more of this challenge year after year. Because of those entrepreneurs like Becky, we heard the story from her and how VietChallenge helped Cricket One to find new distributor in the US and continue to grow after the competition. So I think with that being said, I wanted to dive in to introduce you guys and kickstart our panel discussion today. So I'm gonna go around and then give you guys just I guess like 30 seconds to introduce yourself and your fund, and then we can get started. So I'm gonna start with you first, her lady first. So Michelle, can you go first? Michelle, I think you are unmute. So can you try again? I don't think we can hear you. Yeah, we still cannot hear you. But we're gonna come back to you later. Hưng, can you start first?
Hi, can you hear me though?
Hi.
Oh, okay.
It works now. So back to her.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, Michelle, we can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, I'm
go
so
ahead.
sorry. So technical issues. So thanks for inviting us for this panel. I'm Michelle from Quest Ventures. Quest Ventures is a top venture capital in Asia. We have a portfolio of 90 plus companies operating in more than 150 cities across Asia. So I think that's something that we're active in, investing in Southeast Asia, especially Vietnam. And we do collaborate with various Vietnam organizations, including VietChallenge, and also NATEC, BSSC, Sonhua Innovation, and the Vietnam Venture Capital Alliance. So I'm an associate at Quest, and I work with my team to look for investment deals in Asia, including Vietnam. So I also run accelerators programs for startups in our portfolio and in general. Back to you, Jean.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Welcome to VietChallenge this year. Hưng, do you like to go next, please? Hưng, would you mind introduce yourself?
Who, me?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Henry. You probably know of me as a long-time supporter of VietChallenge. Previous year as a co-organizer in Vietnam, and this year I return as also a supporter from a different point of view. So recently we opened an accelerator and VC focusing on blockchain. It's called Hub Holding. So we're focusing on investing into promising blockchain startup because we really believe that this is a space that can help a lot of companies in Vietnam to capture the opportunity of the decade. And so maybe you've known that Andreessen Horowitz recently opened a $2.2 billion fund to invest into blockchain. So we also hope for a very bright future of blockchain in Vietnam because we are one of the top 3 top crypto owners per capita in the world, and we've seen a lot of development in recent years, and Vietnam is totally a top spot for it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working with VietChallenge and maybe turn some traditional projects into blockchain ones, or maybe we can find some promising projects, with the hope of doing IDO soon or approaching potential markets via VietChallenge. So yeah, thank you, and we look forward to the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Henry, for coming back with us this year and for being one of our first supporter in Vietnam. Jeffrey, would you like to go next and introduce a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Payne. I run a venture fund called Golden Gate Ventures based in Singapore. We've been around almost 10 years investing in Southeast Asia and started investing in Vietnam in 2012. Nothing really. So we do seed and Series A. We do have a crypto fund set up in 2018. So love to collaborate if there are, which is a separate fund. So if any questions you guys have for me, just go ahead and shoot. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for being with us today. Last but not least, Olivier from Phoebe Venture. Can you share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for having me. So Phoebe is the acronym of for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. For a simple reason is that the 4 GPs are entrepreneurs themselves. We created more than 30 companies and still have more than 4,000 employees here in Vietnam and in Southeast Asia region. We are surrounded by 6 talented team members and around 55 entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs, which are backing us as investor on the Phoebe platform. And we invest at seed in Vietnam, in the region, 100% in tech. And yeah, we've done a few co-investment with several of the panelists, including three deals recently with Jeff and his great team at Golden Gate.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you, Olivier. Yeah, thank you, Jean, and thank you, Olivier. And yeah, it's really nice to have this panel together because there's just no way to beat around it. 2020 has been a really rough year for all over the world, but also for kind of the startup scene and also the business world in Vietnam as well. We kind of see that the amount of capital invested in the country has fallen by about 50%, and the number of deals fell slightly about 17-20% in the past year. So it's just really nice to see you all here and see that there's still really interest in investment into the Vietnamese market. So thank you again for showing up and for kind of demonstrating that to our community here. So on that note, I would love to start off with the first question, just about the overall your impression about the trends in the past year. What do you think are some of the markets and investment verticals that you think will continue to attract investors' attention in 21 post the COVID pandemic? And this is especially in the Vietnamese and Southeast Asian market as well. I would love to hear your perspectives on that. So Olivier, could you please help us get started with this question?
Sure. 3 things that I like to share about it. So first of all, in terms of market, our top 3 market at Phoebe are one Vietnam, I would say 2 Singapore, and 3 Indonesia. Having said that, we've done 1 deal in Philippines, 1 deal in Hong Kong, but the first 3 markets that I just mentioned are clear focus. In terms of industry, we love infrastructure, which is for us fintech, logistics. We also heavily focus on education, on health, and everything around e-commerce enabler, including social commerce, and 1 food tech business in Singapore. Having said that, as a seed investor, we are really founder-centric. So even if we are also thesis-driven and know some specific categories, specific model, we let's say the vast majority of our decision is based on the founder profile and I would say high potential. So definitely founder centric and in our approach.
Thank you, Olivier. Michelle, I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Yeah, Quest has definitely been around for quite a long time, and would love to hear your thoughts on what are some of the changes that you've seen in the past year, and the kind of markets and investment verticals that you think will continue to attract investors within the markets that you operate in the future.
Definitely. I think for Vietnam, they have passed, the whole ecosystem has moved past the activation phase. and it's moving towards a globalization phase. So you see more international and regional investors going in, and also the number of startups that are getting funded are increasing. I think for now, what we can look at for Vietnam is probably the agri-food tech space, consumer digital, logistics and supply chain, especially in the last mile. I think similarly accelerated by the COVID-19. And I think like the logistics and supply chain and the last mile is extremely important for Vietnam because it's a very long country. I would say from the north to the south, it's about 1,650 kilometers. And I think the Hanoi and also Ho Chi Minh City, they are also very far apart. So there's a gap down there for a lot of startups to solve. And also, I would think that the rising middle class and also that there are more people who are under the age of 35. They are definitely going to be the consumers that you want to target. And there's a lot of growth expected for Vietnam. So I think those are the sectors that we're looking at in Vietnam. And apart from Vietnam, we do invest in Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, and also Central Asia. So Kazakhstan, if you hear about it, yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. That's really interesting to hear about. What you mentioned, especially just to know that there's a lot of potential there. So yeah, that's really promising. Jeff, what are your thoughts? And I know that we have Jeff and Henry here to answer the question as well. Would love to hear your thoughts about existing markets and also that kind of crypto kind of market that is, in my opinion, which is not really that extensive. There is something of an emerging crypto market in Vietnam as well and in Southeast Asia. So would love to hear your thoughts about investment trends with regards to existing markets and also that new emerging markets as well.
Oh, sure. I second, what have been already shared. I think the e-commerce surrounding sort of like e-commerce adjacent kind of industry is still strong. But I think the next 12 months, I think a lot is going to be changing in the fintech side. So I think majority of deals that you guys will see is probably likely going to be in fintech, and because of that, the crypto market kind of will kind of pop up here and there. But at the same time, Vietnam project-wise, there are not too many, but I think it will increase over time. So I think the more players like Hub and others, that will help. And then the traditional sectors like healthcare, education, agriculture will still have companies and will still have investments. So I would still believe that it will still be going on. But it's a very long road, right? Healthcare, education, and agriculture is a huge industry. And in a country like Vietnam, it's very hard to change things. But it as long as the teams have persistence and they keep going and the investors kind of like help them out along the way, I think these three industries are also very big.
Thank you, Jeff. I hear a lot of tensions in what you said and what Michelle said and what Olivier said as well. And I think this hopefully also gives our audience and also our aspiring entrepreneurs some ideas into what you're looking at in terms of the markets that they should develop in, and also with regards to the startups, the kind of companies that they should present or build in the future as they join VietChallenge. Now, Henry, I know that you Hub is kind of a new fund that you have, and would love to hear about certainly with starting this new fund. I'm assuming that you see a lot of opportunities. So with that, would love to hear what you're looking at in terms of what you want to invest in and what are the trends that you are observing right now.
Yeah, obviously agree with what Jeff has said. So we believe that in the next 3 years, we're going to see major disruption in the financial and banking areas, and blockchain has a lot to do with it. So recently we founded this Hub Global holding company that consists of all the major shareholders in the blockchain space in Vietnam, like Kyber Network, Tomo Chain, Reclay Finance, and a few others. So we all want to contribute and build a platform, upon which companies, new companies, and blockchain projects can quickly launch their products and call for fundings. So in our board, there's also a few traditional VC people like Ling Han from VSV. We have Brian from he's a current board member at VNG. We have Hai, the head of core digital banking of Asian Commercial Bank, and recently the chief transformation officer at Timo Digital Bank. So we have a board of people that are willing and ready to support all projects, blockchain projects, and we're willing to invest, say, 100K into companies, that join VietChallenge and has an intention to, utilize, to use blockchain to approach the market a little bit better. And we have a 14 session acceleration program to help companies to speed up their the process. And so if I can share the screen, that'll be better. But since we cannot, I'll just keep it short and concise. So I think we don't share screen. Yeah.
Awesome. It's really, really great to hear from each of you about your thoughts on the investment trends. The country is moving. I totally agree with Michelle. It's like way past the activation phase, and now we are in the globalization part, where a lot of activities from different industry kind of booming over the past few years. So my next question would be a little bit more on from the startup perspective, as VietChallenge is all about supporting startup, and one of the reasons why startup raise fund beside the capital support that they need is actually the value added from their VC partners. So this question is more like about the support that your funds have provided for portfolio company during, difficult time like last year. Can you give us some more color on how did you help and support your portfolio company, and maybe share some of the pivot that you see were successful or not successful during last year? That would be great to hear. Anyone want to start with this question? I can go with.
If you want.
Okay. Olivier, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, as we mainly invest in seed, as you said, money is important, valuation is important, but value added is at least important. And we make sure that we're able to help any startup we invest and focus on 5 main areas, which are first, at the MVP level, we have the chance to have more than 20 companies that my partners own in Vietnam, and we try to plug the I would say the app or the website or the platform of the startup and do an MVP in one of the company that we own in order to reach a product market fit. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. The second is the business development and finding clients. We have the chance to have more than 10 LPs from Vietnam, totaling working in 15 industries and having 500,000 employees. So we always present the solution of the startup to those groups in order they become the first client. After, there is obviously I would say the usual suspect, which are recruitment, fundraising that most of the fund are doing. And at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time on Zalo, on WhatsApp, being rather the sparring partner of the founder, not waiting the next board meeting, but rather sharing, I would say, all the mistake and the learning we've done along our entrepreneurial journey. Because again, we created 33 companies ourselves. So as I used to say, we don't know what the entrepreneur should do, but we know at least what they should not do, and we challenge them over time over those digital channels to to bounce ideas and challenge the plan.
Right. That's great to hear. Yeah, I think most of the entrepreneurs that we see through VietChallenge, when they first meet with VC, they thought that, oh, okay, I should not share with you guys the problem that I have with the company. But from the VC point of view, that's actually what you want to hear, like how you can help to solve those challenges and not wait until the board meeting and then surprise you with a very big problem, right? So it's great to see that you have a very hands-on approach on helping those entrepreneurs throughout the difficult time. Jeff, Hung, Michelle, do you guys want to add anything here? Yes, go ahead,
You
Hung.
were in the back, so I just share. So we have a few sessions on blockchain to help companies to speed up their business. First is like a blockchain orientation and a white paper outline, because a lot of teams they don't know how to do that. And then we offer tokenomics and the app business model session for all the teams that join our program, and then followed by a mock defense, a pre-white paper defense reviewed by the Blockchain Investment Committee, and then an IDO or IEO or a few other method of fundraising. We'll do a session on that, so teams can better prepare for themselves when they raise fund on the blockchain platforms. And then we can have a tech infrastructure and layer 2 the app blockchain product architecture session, and then marketing, backers, and community. The final one will be blockchain investor showcase and the white paper publication. So all this will be packed into a few months of operation. And so if you like VietChallenge teams, if you eventually think that you'll be interested in blockchain and using blockchain, then join us, and we can help you to do an IDO within 2 months. And within that process, we'll invest from 50 to 100K into your companies, and we'll help you to turn your traditional business into a blockchain one if possible. And so that's our plan. If in the end Quest Ventures or say Golden Gate Ventures want to partner with us, we're very much open, because we have a pipeline, a very consistent pipeline throughout this year, and that's why Le and Long and other people who are influential in the blockchain market, they open this fund with us. So looking forward to working with all of you to making blockchain and crypto mainstream. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Great programs and resources there for any blockchain related startup this year. Please reach out. You guys know who you guys should talk to. So thank you, Hung, for sharing those resources. Jeff, Michelle, do you want to add anything for this question?
Yeah, maybe I could go first. I think I agree with Olivier and Henry, right? So definitely apart from capital, VCs like ourselves do have to provide support in terms of capabilities building, and also helping in terms of their go-to-market, product market fit, business development, and also their next round of fundraising. So that's something that Quest also work with our Quest family to help them grow and also raise their next round of investments. So I think since COVID hit the world, Quest has for Vietnam specifically, Quest has worked with Enterprise Singapore, government agency under the Ministry of Trade and Industry in Singapore, to support more than 30 companies in their expansion into Vietnam. So even though it's a purely virtual program because we are still unable to travel, we have helped the company set up their entity over there, make their first hire, make their first distributorship, and make their first pilot project. So I think that's something that we do for Vietnam specifically. And then on our day-to-day, we also run mentorship sessions. So recently we had the product office hours to help startups scale their product development, and more than 200 product managers, startup founders, and mentors has come together to deep dive into product scaling in this session. Then recently, I think Jeff also joined us as a judge at our Quest Ventures Day. So like about 500 international investors has joined to hear 30 plus of our portfolio companies pitch. So it's something that we do to support our companies, our portfolio, and the ecosystem in general. Yeah.
Wow, that's great to hear, and what really a lot of activity and program and initiative that you guys put out for startup. Congrats on running that events with 500 international investor. That's like no small fit there. Jeb, do you wanna add anything from your side and from the Golden Gate Venture side? I know you guys was one of the first investor in Vietnamese startup way back when Vietnamese startup is still like not on the radar of a lot of international investor. Can you maybe share with us some of your experience and how did you support these founder and company?
So specifically Vietnam, I think we have a separate portfolio growth team, right? So mostly on recruiting. And then we bring in people to help in different areas. I think the team itself, we do mostly product, UI, UX, and marketing, metric related tracking. And then we have an in-house recruiter to help them out. But in Vietnam, I think a lot of it is getting their house in order, right? So, getting their data room in order, getting their decks in order, getting a lot of things prepared, and then also coaching founders on fundraising. So those who have done it over a few rounds, or they hired good people, they are still ironing out their kinks, but the seed and kind of pre-A companies, they typically have a bit of issue, so we'll try to help them there. Other than that, I think COVID wasn't that of a big hit back in 2020 in Vietnam, but I think now it's becoming a bit more apparent. But we already seen which industries will survive and actually do better, and then which industries need to step back and not be too aggressive, that kind of thing. So we are somewhat prepared. But other than that, I think Vietnamese founders tends to be extremely local and extremely scrappy. So if you tell them to break even, they will. I don't know how they do that, but they will. Yeah. So that's one of the most interesting part about Vietnam. The founders are extremely good at that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you mentioned that. I think I cannot say that I've met a lot of like all of them, but I do think that that's the trend of people that we work with at VietChallenge as well. Everyone seems to be really resourceful, which is really fun to work with, and kind of gives you a sense of security as well with us at VietChallenge. So good to hear about that. So on that note as well, I want to follow up on that question on that point that you just brought up about kind of some of the characteristics that you sense in Vietnamese founders, and would love to hear more about generally what kind of founders you're interested in working with, because I know that I just like not just the business itself, but sometimes even just the person that you work with or just the founders themselves are kind of the draw of how you give just like your investments and select who to invest in as well. So with that, what are some of the qualities that you look for in founders when they come to you and start pitching to each of your funds? And with that, Jeff, if you could just follow, if you could just elaborate on what you just mentioned and give us an idea of what you look for in founders, that'd be great.
Let's see. I think nowadays it's a bit. There are a few types of founders in Vietnam, but then nowadays the challenge is having the founders understand what they're doing and understand the market more, right? In other words, they should need less time to understand the market. and not raise money for 2 years and try to figure it out. There are money for that, but that's not the right money. So I think I'm looking for founders that understands where they're going to go, understands many data points before even Series A, right? So for example, am I a one product, many countries play? Am I a regional play? Am I a global play? Am I a 5 product, 1 country play? They need to know that. Many founders don't know that. In the region, actually, many founders don't know that. But they are beginning to. I'm beginning to see more and more founders. They kind of slowly understand. Be, and then be very realistic how big they will be. Right. So the number one problem now in startups in Southeast Asia is they don't know where they are in 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. They don't know how big they be. They just tell you something that they want you to hear. Right. But that's the problem. If they don't know where they will be, and the investors also think the same way or believe them, then it's the blind leading the blind. Then 2-3 rounds later, you'll see problems happening. Right. So probably like 5 years down the road, then you see something happening. Something not good. Right. So so I want founders to really understand the market first, where they're going to be, how they're going to win, how big they will be, and then they know what kind of capital they need. Right. 99% of companies shouldn't talk to us anyway. Right. But the problem is many of them talk to us because they don't know what they are. And the investors who don't know what they want, then they start investing in them, and then they'll get mediocre returns, and then they cannot return the fund, and then they'll stop at fund 2, for example. Right. They'll close shop, right? Because they cannot perform, so they can't raise fund 3. That is bad, right? That is bad for the ecosystem. Angels do the same thing, right? Angels invest sometimes with no criteria, and when they get burned, they don't invest in startups anymore, and that's bad, right? So as long as founders know where they're going and be very clear, very honest to themselves, if I'm a $10 million business, I'm a $10 million business. It is okay. Just tell us that, right? And we can. Some smaller funds are happy to invest in a $10 million business. Many angels are happy to do that, right? So you don't have to force yourself to be a unicorn all the time. So the unicorn fallacy, the entire unicorn thing, is a little bit played out too much. Right? So just be aware of that.
Thank you, Jeff. I think, what I'm hearing is both insights and foresight into both their own businesses and also into the market. And I think that's really important that you just reminded us that, some businesses are just meant to grow to a certain point and capture a certain portion of the market. And that is totally fine. And there are investors who are interested in those businesses as well. So that's a good reminder as well, myself as well, for someone who's planning to enter kind of the consumer packaged goods place in the future. So good to hear and great learning. So Michelle, Olivier, I would love to hear from you in terms of what your impressions are in terms of the kinds of founders you want to work with. And I think I'm really interested in hearing your answers as you just mentioned, PB stands for entrepreneurs and by entrepreneurs. So I'm assuming that there are quite a bit of focus on founders and entrepreneurs on your part. So just want to hear about
definitely very people and entrepreneur centric, I would say. As it's all about people, our stage and in our investment thesis, we want to let's say build the mutual trust with the founder. That's very important. To do very basic principle, apply very very basic principle, like you say what you do what you say. You are super transparent. You say when you don't know. You say the challenges and the hurdles you're facing. So for us, that's from far the first criteria, kind of bullshit-free relationship from the first minute. The second is really the passion about the category, to really love what you do and not maybe potentially less opportunistic is not because you read yesterday on TechCrunch that a startup from China or from whatever India raised 200 million in a space that tomorrow say, oh, I want to do the same in Vietnam. That's not the type of founder we really want to back. We want people who want to solve big problem, not only because they are big and there is the financial reward, but because they really love the category, because it's a long journey. It's a 10, potentially 15 years journey. And if you want to be highly motivated every single morning to solve the problem, you need to be truly passionate about that. Then it's everything a question of, I would say, executing fast. So it's a lot of data, a lot of process, moving really, really, really fast. We perceive that even if we are ourselves pretty fast on the due diligence, we have at least a few interactions, and we see the quality of the whatever, of the deck, of the data room, of the app, of the MVP. We have a few signals. We are here to detect signals, and we love seeing the quality of the, I would say, micro execution along the first interaction. I would say then it's a question of self-awareness. In the self-awareness, I put like two kind of buckets. The first one is, understanding the unknown and ability to learn very fast, because the founder is like a chef orchestra. He needs to do a 360 in his business, understand several pieces, and therefore nobody master everything. So he need to learn a product. He would need to learn whatever, several aspects. But on the other side, he need to accept to recruit expert and people way better than her or him in that space. So it's a bit this dual stuff: learn fast and recruit expert to cover some very critical area. And last but not least is I would say the storytelling and the capability to attract top talent, ability to attract good suppliers, good client, media, investors. Obviously, I guess this capacity of telling the story is potentially not the most important, but at least is one of the top 10 one that we're considering. And at the end of the day, last stuff that we invest on people for the next 10 years, and life is kind of short. We really want to back people that we dream to have dinner with and take a bottle of wine. It's a human adventure. So that's an important stuff. We need to share good vibes and mutual respect and mutual passion with the founders to go along in this 10 years and marathon journey.
Thank you, Olivier. I'm hearing a lot of common themes as well on top of what you mentioned about just what I'm considering here, kind of soft skills and just being good people and people that you want to work with, but also just a genuine understanding of the businesses and of the markets, and also maybe just willingness to listen or work with experts or people who actually know what they're talking about. So I think that's really something that was reminiscent of what Jeff just mentioned. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And I'm sure that everyone watching is taking notes of that. Michelle, I would love to hear from your thoughts as into what Quest Ventures are looking for in terms of founders, and also since you've been in the market for really long as so everyone, but just want to hear your thoughts about whether that has changed the past few years. There's some of the trends in the founders you've seen in the region, and who you want to work with.
Okay, sure. I think I kind of agree with both Jeff and Olivier over there, right? Where we want founders to know the end goal, and it's a very long journey together with your investors. And I think one of the things that they should be more aware of is the weaknesses and challenges, and make sure that they don't hide from them. And they have to work together on them together with the investors. And I would think that in terms of the traits that we are looking for, they must be strong in strategy, execution, and communication. And I think in times of COVID, maybe resilience would be an important trait that we look for. And they must be open to feedback and robust discussions with the investors and other stakeholders. So I think previously for the Vietnam market, I would say that I agree with Jeff that they are looking more in Vietnam to grow more locally instead of growing regionally in another market. And typically they try to raise funds from the local VCs, but now they are looking at regional and international VCs. So I think that's something that I observe as a change. And I would definitely encourage them to be more to look at more look at the international market or the regional market at least for scaling, because to be honest, Southeast Asia is can consolidate to become stronger. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. I think that's something that we've mentioned and we've discussed with Jeff and at the separate discussion as well. In the earlier in an earlier conversation about whether it's important for Vietnamese startups to stay regional or to go local or go global to kind of attract more and gain investment from VCs outside of Vietnam. So, but that's a discussion for a different day, and then would love to have that discussion at a separate panel with you all at a later point. But just to follow up on the same question about the founders you want to work with, Henry, would love to hear what Help is looking for when you work with founders.
Just two things. One is global mindset, because the crypto market and the blockchain one is, entirely open. So it doesn't have anything to do with like Vietnam or any local market. You have to be open from the beginning. And second, you have to be able to learn new things, because the market changes so quickly, right? And you have like a new meta every year or so. So when we look at founders and we talk to them and be partner with them, we're willing to learn with them on new things as well. So if they happen to be able to bring blockchain on a traditional market, and then we're willing to listen. We have a few cases of people using token to apply into the electricity, the utility, loyalty, and even carbon emission markets. So we have to be open ourselves too, and be willing to learn alongside the founders. And so far we found very inspiring examples in Vietnam, founders who are willing to work hard and be open-minded and have a global mindset from the beginning. So looking forward to meet even more founders through the VietChallenge program, and I think your experience will be very much valuable in the market nowadays. So those 2 points, and if anything else, if you could be in the country, then we would love you to join our program at the Hub Global Building. So we have an acceleration program that is centralized in the place. That is the only thing that is centralized. Everything else is decentralized. So yeah, 2 points: global mindset and the willingness to learn new things.
Thank you, Henry. I think that's really important. Especially, I can certainly hear as from your perspective as a fund who's really interested in blockchain as well. That global mindset is super important, and along with many other businesses that we've talked about, that it's really important to have that kind of look outside of just the Vietnamese market. So good to hear. And I think I'm certain that everyone in the audience today has been taking notes, and these are things that we will certainly look for in startups that will hope to participate in VietChallenge this year. And as you might know, a lot of the funds that we have here will go on to become judges within our competition. So please do take notes and know that these are things that you will be assessed for going forward. Jean, would you like to ask the next question?
Yeah, sure. I personally, I learned a lot from these conversations, and thank you guys for sharing a lot of insight on the market as you are on the ground supporting these startup and entrepreneurs. I think to wrap up our panel, it's been an hour and so much new thing and knowledge that I learned. I think we can just conclude by maybe sharing some of your wisdom on how these startups can succeed in competition like VietChallenge. What are some of the wisdom that you have to share with these founders? Anyone want to share your advice and wisdom for these startup founders as they are about to join a new challenge this year? Hưng, do you want to take it?
I can. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I have the privilege of following up with a few founders after VietChallenge a few years before. So I think the competition itself is a very good platform for teams to challenge themselves and connect with prominent VCs in the region and all over the world. What my advice would be, prepare yourself, for the coming opportunities, because they may come in different ways and different forms, and maybe you have to deal with a term sheet that you've never seen before. Maybe you'll be offered to apply a few new technologies into your existing business. So prepare yourself and be willing to change and adopt new technologies and maybe a new batch of acceleration program and fundings. So a few teams that graduated from the VietChallenge program, over the past few years have been growing really well. Like Cricket One that you just seen, VIOT was also a big success. So typically, I'll see that all the teams graduating from the program will, when they participate in other competition, they will be the first one, like number one, the champion, and then it's very easy to raise fund from the after winning something from VietChallenge. So I urge you to apply, and we look forward to work with all of you. The top teams are the ones that really work, that we can really apply blockchain. So yeah, click on the link and apply today.
Thank you very much. Any other thought from other panelists?
Just a few words on my side about the importance of those rubber stamping, branding and network that VietChallenge can bring, like also Y Combinator or Sequoia Surge or Lightspeed Accelerator. I think it's very important. I was doing earlier this week a board of one of our portfolio company in another part of the world, preparing an IPO for next year, and the board was mainly about those type of rubber stamping, which is for a growth stage company, having the right ERP. So we need to have implement SAP or Oracle, to have the audit from a Big 5 or Big 4, KPMG or Ernst & Young, to have the right M&A boutique like Lazard to bring you to the next level and preparing for the IPO. And I think I'm doing the parallel between a growth stage company and an early stage, and it's definitely important to have those kind again of early stage support and branding, and especially as many panelists said that one of the I would say the main trend in Vietnam this year and for the next ones is to from Vietnam only to Vietnam to the region or even Vietnam to the world, and definitely VietChallenge is for me the right partner to help those Vietnamese entrepreneurs to conquer all the boundaries and all the markets. So congrats, guys, for what you're doing, and definitely, guys, you should try, you should participate, and especially you should learn.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Olivier. The reason why we are still here today, it's 11 p.m. in Boston time, still working on VietChallenge, is because of these entrepreneurs and because of the startup that we've seen over the year and their resilience and their progress that they made throughout both good and difficult times. And we are very glad to have you guys joining us this season, getting more support from both local and international firms as we help prepare these startups to take them to the next level. So with that being said, if there's no more questions from the audience, and I don't think we have more questions from the audience, we can conclude our panel here. And I'm very thankful for each and every one of you for joining us today and sharing with us your insight. I'm looking forward to continue working with you guys this seasons as we are expanding a lot more support and working with our partners, Republic, to help providing funding, network, and mentorship for this founder. So thank you guys so much, and have a good day or good night wherever you are. And I'm returning the stage back to Jensen and Thai.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Mm-hmm. Take care.
Well, thank you, Jean, Jensen, and all our panelists today, Michelle, Olivier, Jeff, and Henry, for conducting such an amazing panel discussion. And I'm sure that myself, as well as all our participants today, have learned some very valuable lessons from you. So to our innovators and entrepreneurs out there, be proactive, be reactive, stay resilient, and take risks. Now, before we come to an end, I'd like to have Stephen again to share some of the concluding remarks. Stephen.
Thank you, Ivy, and thank you, everyone, especially our guests and speakers, Jeff, Henry, Michelle, and Olivia, for attending and participating this evening. We hope that our virtual kickoff event has filled with the excitement and as we embark on our new season. And for more information about the application and all of our exciting plans, please visit our website at VietChallenge.org. And for now, enjoy your weekend and hang tight for another successful season of VietChallenge. And thank you, and see you again in the next event of VietChallenge.